What is up, my people? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your boy Nassim the Dream, and this is it. The moment you've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be my last video of 2022, and this is the big one. The top 50 albums of 2022 is here, and now I'm going to be going through my list as quickly as I can, but as I get closer to the end of it, to the more higher ranks, I will give in a little bit more detail of what makes these records so special. But guys, before I get into my list, I just want to give a big thank you and shout out to all you guys that have been so supportive of the channel. You have no idea how much it means to me. It's come such a long way. Once we hit October, that's when I hit my first year anniversary of actually starting putting out content on my channel, and man, it's just been an absolute ride ever since, man. I'm happy where the channel's been at now, and I cannot wait to see where we are at in the future. So guys, thank you so much. Mad love to all y'all. And let us get right into it. We're gonna start with the number 50 with Harry Styles, Harry's House. 49 is gonna go straight to Rex Orange County's Who Cares. 48 goes to some noise rock post-punk to Show Me the Body, Trouble the Water. 47, and I'm gonna drop that to Kenny Beats for his little album Louie. Great selection of beats on here, and it was just a really nice switch up of a pace. I just really enjoyed this from Kenny Beats. 46 is gonna go to the Kylo Kish record American Girl. Then we're gonna go straight to the 45 for the 1975's newest record Being Funny in a Foreign Language. 44, this was a surprise for me, but I actually really enjoyed the Red Hot Chili Peppers album Return of the Dreamcaster. Lots and lots of fun on here, man. They were wacky on here. I loved it. 43, I'm going to drop that to Brockhampton for The Family. 42, that's going to go straight to Spiritualized for the album Everything Was Beautiful. Then 41, I'm going to give that to Lil Sims for the album No Thank You. 40, that's going to go straight up to Black Thought and Danger Mouse for the album Cheat Codes. And then 39, the trilogy to King's Disease by Nas. What a great third album to a wonderful trilogy. Man just doesn't miss. 38, this one actually creeped up on me a little bit with some time, but yeah, I'm putting the 38 spot to Denzel Curry for Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. Honestly, these next few picks are ones that really creeped up on me as I got to listen to them a little bit more and more. For the 37th spot, that's gonna go to FKA Twigs for Capper Songs. FKA Twigs just has a great selection of highlights on here, and compared to her past projects, she has really grown compared to what Capper Songs on here. Lots of fun on this one, and yeah, it's deserving of this list. Then the other one is gonna go to The Weeknd, Dawn FM. I started to rethink my perception on some of these tracks, especially with Take My Breath Away and why it's like really remixed like this. And I think it actually makes the album way more unique. And yeah, I actually really like this album way more since it first released. 35, I'm going to give that to the Destroyer record for Labyrinthitis. Giving more love to some punk music for Soul Glow for Diaspora Problems. And then next, we got Rosalia for Motomami. 32 spot, I'm going to be giving that straight up to Shmino for Love for Rent. 31, one of the most hottest hip-hop records you could play all year. And that's going to go straight up to Pusha T for It's Almost Dry. Throwing some shoegaze onto the list. 30 spot is gonna go to Beach House for Once Twice Melody. 29, some really profound electronic music from Charlotte Adigéry and Bolus Pupul for Topical Dancers. Next was some folk. 28, Ethel Cain for Preacher's Daughter. 27, might be surprised that it's not higher up, but yes, I will be giving the 27th spot to Natalia Lafourcade de Todas las Flores. 26, I honestly really like this record a lot more than I feel like most people, but that's gonna be given to Perfume Genius for the album Ugly Season. Top 25, guys, let's get it done. 25 spot, it's gonna go to White Ward's False Light. This was just a surprise of a record to really run into. Like, catching this album so close to the end of the year, I was really floored by the presence of this record because, you know, I really loved what this album really went about when it comes to the progressions in here, when it comes to its like hardcore fuses, some black metal inspirations, and you know, there was just like a lot of moments in here that the writing material was just so impressive, and the pacing overall with the decision making, you know, it's just really good on this record. It really works for me, and this is just an awesome record to try out. 24, getting into my Latin roots, the Meridian Brothers and El Grupo Nacimiento. Track to track is just, it's infectious. It's so much fun. Latin music like this is with cumbia, with mariachi, it's fantastic. Oh my god, like the songwriting on here, wow. Great concept record. I love it. 23, Chat Pile for God's Country. Chat Pile that's one of those bands that just doesn't miss, but this one seems to stick out a little bit more compared to some of their last works because, you know, some of the things that they really talked about in certain of their songs, they kind of like attain more to my perspectives, and I think that was one of the things that why I really adored this record. Metal and post-hardcore, post-punk vibes on here are just destructive. The emotion is capitalized so well on this one, and yeah, you have to check out this record. 22, that's gonna go to Jockstrap for I Love You Jennifer B. There's so many eccentric pop tunes on here. I really love the noise atmospheres that are layered on. They really just get really wacky with some of the ideas, especially on the transition points on here, that really stick with you. Jockstrap is just coming in with a lot of forward-thinking pop, and there's just a lot of great textures, all around great sound design, great production. It's a bop. 21, Kendrick Lamar from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I thought this was just a great return album from Kendrick Lamar. There were so many tracks that really still stick with me. I really love N95 for this little party vibe. I love the intro when it talks about when he's been going through something. The Heart Part 5 is such a banger and just so great to listen to. That song is always kept on repeat. And then tracks like We Cry Together really define how far the creativity can really get for such a mastermind like Kendrick Lamar. I think this is just an album that I feel like, it's being recognized, but not enough. Not enough. 20 spot, I'm going to give that to Black Dresses for Forget Your Own Face. Black Dresses, man, they just keep coming in with some clutch and edgy experimental synth pop. And, I just love, the wide range of, ideas they keep coming up with. And, I don't know, this sound really just... It attains to a lot of my interests, especially when it comes to making things really interesting in terms of metal aesthetic and pop aesthetic. I don't know, man. They're just killing it. They always kill it, and this one really sticks. 19. This one was a doozy. Aeshenpire with Hostile Architecture. Black metal like this is just such a spectacle to witness. What Aeshenpire really addresses into this record really digs deep into issues like capitalism and oppression into urban communities. Sonically, this is just a marvel to observe. The distortions on here really trigger the mix a lot and add a lot of grit. Incredible choir moments onto the tracks on here. Moments that just feel so destructive, and at the same time moments that feel really heightened with the intensity. It's an album that's just straight up in your face most of the time, and you really can't help to feel having a very jarred reaction at the very finish of this album. I really love my experience with this. 18 goes to Death's Dynamic Shroud for Darklife. These guys are they're fucking kings at electronic music. They are just, I feel like if I watched them in the studio, they'd make it look so easy, but how do you do this? Their IQs must be off the charts, because dude, the creativity on some of these tracks is incredible. It's absolutely nuts. It's very at the same time, in a way, has some psychedelic tributes and traits to it because of how mind expanding some of these passages can really loop around. Really feels super multidimensional, and sometimes as it feels very multiversal. They're incredible producers, incredible songwriters, and just they got so many great ideas. It's just, you can't miss records like this, man. You need to try them out. 17, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava. The Gizzlords just don't miss, man. 6 projects. They dropped 6 projects this year, and each of them are so distinctive. But this one, man, this was the one that really had me in my feels. I had the most fun. I loved how the lengths were for a lot of these songs on here. It's so funky, it's very trippy, and it just packs so much entertainment on these songs. The flutes, the guitars, the drums, they all have their moments and major highlights on each of these tracks. And, I enjoyed the hell out of this album so much. They're all really good in their own way, but I don't know. This one was the one that really stuck to me the most out of all the ones that they dropped this year. 16, I'm going to give that to Gospel for The Loser. Gospel, hands down, has dropped one of my favorite hardcore projects this year, and I just love the result of what they really created with this one. The guitar work is absolutely excellent, and the progression of this record is super straightforward, but it's also consistent. I think it's also important to note the distance of time from the band's return, marking exactly 17 years since their last record. After all that time, when you come back, this is what you burst through with. Dude, this deserves so much recognition just because of that gap. I mean, I don't know how long they were thinking about making this record in terms of being in the studio and actually executing the idea, but it needs to be acknowledged. 15 spot, yeah. 15 spot, yeah. 15, Sedan Archives for Natural Brown Pop Queen. Bops after bops after bops after bops after bops, man. Sedan just demonstrates a wide aspect of versatility in terms of pop, R&B, and hip-hop skills. This can get serious, it can get absolutely fun, it can get silly, or just straight up in your face and super hype about it. It's a lovely pop R&B record, and I love the attitude from Sedan on this one. The amount of content included on here, there's just so many tracks on here that are just so worth trying out, and also feel really distinctful in this whole way, but at the same time everything is really cohesive. I don't know, it's a fabulous play. It's a great record to play, and yeah. 14, man. I think this might be the sleeper hip-hop album of the year. I think so, because that's going to go to Lupe Fiasco for Drill Music in Zion. This one blew my damn mind when it was released. I could not believe the potency of how great and clarity the production was for this album. The terms of tales that Lupe Fiasco would be writing in his lyricism for these tracks. Bop after bop. Love the way it starts. Love the way it concludes. This is a beautiful record from Lupe, and I don't think enough people are really acknowledging it either. This is such a sleeper, man. And then 13, another sleeper. We're gonna give it to Foxtails for Fawn. I love this kind of screamo music. Screamo mixed with chamber pop, mixed with a little bit of post-rock. It is insane. The way this starts and all the way concludes to the very end is such, oh man, I am locked in every second through that way. And then concluding all the way through the very end, there's still so many other great tracks to really try out. And I don't know, man, this album really speaks to me. It's my style, and it even like kind of pulls out some of my inner roots from me growing up as a child. I really love what the band has done with this album. Paul's spot is gonna go to Okidoki Beaver for Super Champon. God, these folks are just absolutely nuts whenever they come out with music, dude. This is a Japanese punk band, if you're not familiar. And wow, every time they drop something, man, it is so exciting. Like, it is so impressive what they show with their expressions and their emotions as artists. Like, I can't think of a lot of other bands that can really display this much. Not to mention the potency of the intensity of this album had me super infatuated. Like, crazy energy to this album. I feel like they're even more on fire for this record. And especially, like, all the way through, it's such a quick jab of quick, fast punk rock tracks, and I had a hell of a time with it. 11th spot is gonna go to Silvana Estrada from Marchita, one of Latin folk's most impressive performers of the entire year. Beautifully written acoustic and piano ballads, absolutely gorgeous singing all the way from the start to the very end of Marchita. This just blends so beautifully with the string sections on here. The color palettes that are just very grayed out and very like gloomy. They feel good. I was in disbelief to how well this album really executed its idea. Like, I really feel like what this record achieved in such a short amount of time for most records, it's just such an addictive listen. We're getting to the top 10. Number 10, Petro Girls, Babe. This album is just consistently saying go fuck yourself to so many different people with so many stupid points of view. This record and band itself are just so rebellious that you just can't help but to love their message. The instrumental wise is just super kick-ass all the way through. I love the punk aesthetics on here. They had me thrilled all the way through. Banger after banger. Energy is on point all the way through. 10 out of 10. I really thought they threw down on this. These motherfuckers know how to throw down. Number 9, man. I thought this was gonna be the hip-hop album of the year at the point, but that is gonna be Billy Woods with Aethiopes. Some of the production on here was just so wild to wrap my head around. I couldn't really understand how Billy and some of his features really were able to execute their verses so well on such a complicated beat. This could be considered a classic. I think for Billy Woods' discography, oh, absolutely. It sticks with you. So many of these tracks are super memorable. Some of them are actually a lot of fun, very engaging, and sometimes they're just very, like, mind-massaging. Very interesting concepts in here as well. This is just one of the best from Billy Woods, and you have to check this out. 8, man. One of the best dance records of the year, baby. Beyonce for Renaissance. There's not enough I can say about this album. It keeps on point. Transition to transition, song to song, the energy is on point all the way through. Beyonce is on point all the way through. The people who help her out when it comes to the production of this album, the writing of this album, they really understood the assignment. It's just so much fun. It is a banger after banger, and she is the queen for the reason, ladies and gentlemen. Banger. Renaissance is probably gonna slam the Grammys, I'm telling you. But this next album shook me silly because I can't believe I have it over Beyonce's. It's gonna go to SZA's SOS. I'm obsessed with this album right now. I am absolutely obsessed. I've been playing the entire album all the way through, car rides, gym warm-ups, just you name it. I just been busting everything through. The entire first and second leg are just so addictive. They are absolutely addictive. The amount of dopamine being released from my brain from these tracks, man, is just amazing. Like so many different things that she's trying out on this album too that I also really appreciate. Not everything is gonna hit with me on here, especially when she tries to make a pop punk song. It's a little bit awkward, but you know, I like the approach and I like the amount of range and variety she adds to this album. The moments where she's rapping on here, a lot of fun. The moment when she's singing her heart out, gorgeous, super alluring, dominated. She dominated with this record and she definitely delivered, especially from getting 2 very hot singles to lead up to this record, and man, well worth the wait. 6, another record that I thought was going to be hip hop album of the year. Conway The Machine, God Don't Make Mistakes. Not enough I can say about this, guys. If you are not fucking with Griselda right now, what the fuck are you even doing? Conway has just been one of the most poetic, impactful, and creative ideas into hip hop right now. The man just does not miss. You can talk about the beats alone on this album, separated. You can have no verses on here, and they're already so great to listen to on their own. But dude, Conway really thought this out, really wanted to think about, and he's talking about so many deep and personal things that are just so hard for somebody to talk about. I applaud the man for creating an album like this. This is such a special hip-hop record. Hip-hop heads, they know that this shit is special, because it is. The number 5 spot, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be the hip-hop album of the year, and that is Jid's A Forever Story. Jid did way more than just drop the best hip-hop album of the year. He evolved as an artist. He did things on here I couldn't even believe he was even capable of. Especially when the track on the Cody 31. I couldn't believe that was him singing. He sounded amazing on there. So much character and animation and personality displayed from his voice. And the lyricism. So many great stories. So many things that just, you know, this is pretty much a biography from Jid. And like so many different things that I thought were so interesting. And like tales that were told in a different way that really had me captivated my entire listen. Why was this album not nominated? It is a crime. It's a fucking crime that this album did not get nominated for not only for rap album of the year, but just in general for the main category, for the main general field of album of the year. Robbed. This album is the steal. It's better than any of those. It's even better than Kendrick Lamar's. So number 4, yeah, I'm gonna drop that to Big Thief for Dragon, New War Mountain, I Believe in You. Guys, this album is 1 hour and 30 minutes. You know how intimidating that was? I love Big Thief, okay? But I thought this would be an exhausting listen. It was magnificent. Blown away by all the ideas and differences into these tracks, keeping up with the main foundation of folk music, but really trying out so many different things on here. And there's not enough I can say about this record. Like, Adrian Lenker has beautiful performances on here all the way through. And I think the band's ideas that come together for many of these songs. Thankfully, this album is getting recognized by the Academy because it's too good. It's way too good for 1 hour and 30 minutes, my guy. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. Number 3, I will be giving that to Richard Dawson, The Ruby Chord. Guys, this record hit me at the perfect time. I played this outside when it was very, very foggy. It was, you know, it was cold, but not too cold. I know it's kind of like a stupid thing to really attach to this record, but I think that really enhanced the experience for me. I was floored by this, so soothed. I felt like my heartbeat was like so quiet, and I just felt so simmered down and just, you know, calm on the inside, especially when you hit this first leg, which is this first song is about 40 minutes long. I don't know what it was about all these background noises and just, you know, like setups like that really had me like super engaged with the album, and then getting such great bangers right after this, like great folk rock tracks right after this. And we need more writers like Richard Dawson. We need more artists like him because, man, music like this is just so hard to find. I don't think a record like this or an artist like this could ever really come that often. And because of that, artists like this always have the capability of just keep on evolving and making something more new, more devoted, more different, more unique. And this might be kind of high for some people compared to other Richard Dawson records, and I've loved a lot of other past Richard Dawson records, but this one really spoke to me. This one really felt like my kind of niche into, like, you know, attaining to a certain color palette, certain environment, certain tone. And this one really hammered it home for me, man. I love this record. Number 2 spot, one hell of a ride, start to finish, Black Midi for Hellfire. The entire first half of this album, I literally felt like I was in the movie Clockwork Orange. Literally, eyes peeled back, sucked into this narrative, and just, you're on this ride, this roller coaster, and it just is not stopping. You're sucked in, you're moving forward, you have no idea what's going on, this ride's not stopping, you think you're in a fucking different planet, different solar system, different multiverse. And these guys are insane. Oddball avant-garde music like this is I don't know how you do it. I really don't know how you do it. My short explanations are just so shitty just because I keep like being dumbfounded, being speechless. But that's what these records really had me caught off guard for. I had no idea how to feel sometimes. I'm just like, I need to collect myself. I'm losing my fucking mind. The guy's absolutely murdered on this album. I beefed through this record so much, and I thought it's one of Black Midi's best. I mean, Black Midi hardly ever disappoints. But compared to Cavalcade, I mean, this is probably one I prefer more over Cavalcade, but man, it's still very distinctive. Very great album. The number one spot, the number one album of 2022. Guys, I'm gonna let you know right now, this album was selected in the very beginning of the year. I was pretty open to an artist or a band, you know, possibly taking the spot. But I knew it would be really difficult because of how special this record really is and how much it really spoke to me. The number one spot, ladies and gentlemen, will go to Black Country New Road for Ants from Up There. This record is distinctive proof that Isaac Wood is one of the most spectacular and special songwriters of all time. You could say I'm exaggerating as much as you want. I don't care. What he did with this album in terms of like his whole concept and destructive relationship that is killing him inside to the point where he doesn't really know how to adapt. The way he goes about it poetically, musically, instrumentally with the band is absolutely gorgeous. This band is something that I feel like could never really be replaced. And, you know, on top of like before this record being released, the sadness of, you know, hearing about Isaac Wood departing from the band, and it hit me even harder after I played this album. Later on after this, it gets a very slow paced album, but dude, so many of the songs with Snow Globes, Goodwill Hunting, Concord, Chaos Space Marine, Brett's Song, you know, even Mark's theme that's like dedicated to Lewis Evans' uncle. That's such a beautiful sax piece, man. Even after this video, I'm literally gonna go celebrate that album again because I am infatuated and beloved to this very immaculate, very perfect album. It's damn near perfect. Not only is the idea and conclusion to this person so sad and just, you know, tragic, the melancholy is demonstrated here so beautifully. If this movie was put in a film, I feel like I would tear up so hard at the end. I don't need to say anything more about how great this album is. You just need to check it out for yourself. It's so special. I am so grateful for this band. I am so grateful for this album. I'm grateful that they're even still together and still gonna be touring. This album is on my wall for a reason. It is an album that I will never, ever forget. This is an album that I would share to my grandchildren and how special it is. Please check this out. It is such a beautiful record. That is my top 50 albums of 2022. Again, I want to thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. All your support, it really keeps me up. And I cannot wait to see where we are for next year. We're going to come back even stronger, even harder, and we're going to dominate. We're going to be on the top, baby. I promise you that. And it's because of you guys. You guys really keep me going. I love y'all so much. And let me know in the comments, what did you think of my list? Did you like them? Did you like any of my picks? Did you hate any of my picks? Let me know, what were your picks? What were some of your favorite albums of the year? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. I appreciate y'all so much. I'm gonna catch you next year. Deuces.
Everyone will say it was cool.